You don't know shit about the town you live in. What the fuck, man?
I mean, I know enough. I know I live on.
Huh?
I know I live on. I know there's Manahan and Central. I go further down Bleecker. I get to Knickerbocker. I'll walk a little bit down Knickerbocker. I get to Myrtle Wyckoff. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I know my way. I know the M train brings me into the city. The L train brings me into most other parts of Brooklyn. I guess the M train does that too. The J can bring me to Jamaica Center. I know how to get to Long Island. You know how to get to Long Island from here?
Yeah. I've driven to Long Island.
Oh, all right. Yeah, but do you know how to do it by train?
By train?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think so, buddy.
No, I've never done that by train.
Yeah, that's right. I'm the superior traveler.
No, you're not.
Superior traveler!
I literally had to, like, map quest my way into Long Island. And then, like, I had to use my iPad with no Wi-Fi to go into Long Island. And then
How'd you use the iPad?
I had to download a map.
You're a fossil.
No, yeah. And then
hey, 90s dad. The 90s called. They want their app back.
Even when I downloaded the app, it didn't work. And I was lost all the way out there. And I still had to figure my way out to where the fuck I was going in Long Island. So
you are a fossil. Who the fuck figures their way out without a phone and technology?
I had to get out of the car.
Why don't you go build a fire, caveman?
I had to get out of the car. Invent the wheel. I had to like look at moss on like a rock to find where north was. Like it was a whole thing.
Okay, you wanna go find a new frontier or something, bro? What is this? My nigga brought up moss. I'm mad you
Long
actually
Island
said that out loud.
A new frontier.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's valid. You're lucky that's actually valid.
It is.
It's actually valid.
Yeah, it's like, you've been out there?
I lived there. That was where I first lived.
Ocala. That's Ocala.
I don't want to talk about it because you notice I left, but my uncle has a house out there. When I first moved to New York, that's where I was living, in Valley Stream, New York. It's
nice, though. It's cute.
It has better housing because of racism.
Yes.
Bro, I have a friend who moved here from Long Island. He's like, yeah, Long Island's racist. And I was like, all right, yeah, it does get that bad rap. It isn't. Oh, wow. Sorry. I was just reading some. It isn't like the people aren't evil always, but they racist enough. Like, that's the only way to describe it. Cause it's like, I never really had issues with nobody because of how I carry myself. So people ain't necessarily stupid. Like you come correct, they're gonna be like, oh wait, let me not try that one. But there's gonna be some habits that you like,
seen that shit before.
Like, bro, you good? Like you need some time? So I lived in Valley, but Valley Stream is like closer to Queens, so it's not really that bad to begin with. But there are parts of it close. It's Redline. It's Redline Central. If I had to give anybody an example of redlining in New York, I could go just refer them to fucking Long Island. You can see all the fucking redlining there, the way the neighborhoods are built. You can probably see some here, but I'm new to Brooklyn still.
Right.
But if you go to Long Island, for instance, there is Hempstead. Hempstead technically is a huge town, a huge like little homestead, and so there's a whole bunch of towns in it. Like Valley Stream is technically in the town of Hempstead, but Hempstead's also a town. But in Hempstead, so there's Hempstead, which is like the ghetto part, and then you have West Hempstead, where all the nice houses are. And you're like, that's weird. These are in the same place. Like literally the same place. I wonder why all the nice shit's over here. And why they got all the drugs? Okay. So that's how, okay. So you could literally see it. And then you have Baldwin, which is another, because you have Baldwin, and then there's like Baldwin Harbor. And Baldwin itself is like, it's okay. But then you go to Baldwin Harbor and you're like, weird. How can these people be living so nice here? And yet the people in this area are only living moderately. The kind of money you see in Baldwin Harbor, it's like,
Damn.
I feel like they shouldn't be living moderately. It's redlining all over the fucking place, bro. It's like a perfectly good example. New York City, I don't even know, but you know, Central Park didn't used to be a park, right?
Yeah.
Did you hear that story?
Yeah. They ran over black people's settlements and houses.
Full ass community. Yeah. Like, hey, y'all live here. You know what would go nice here, y'all? You know, maybe some help with our infrastructure? No, I'm thinking a park.
Oh, like a park.
Can we live around the park? No. Y'all gotta go, actually.
Y'all gotta leave.
Are you gonna like compensate us? All right. It seems like we got to lynch them all, Jeb. Jeb, bring in the pitchforks and everything. Yeah, you guys don't have to run. Hey, no, just come. All right. Run. Bro, well, I mean, like, for real. So there's that in New York, because New York City's usually, like, supposed to be the place where things weren't that bad. After all, you had everybody fleeing the South to get up to a city up north or something. Mm-hmm. But then you get stories like that, and it's like, well, that seems like diet racism. Well, except you forgot the diet. People are just dying. I should probably stop. But I'm only laughing so I don't die inside. All right, let's start the show.
What did you do to your camera? Why is it all the way up?
Nothing. It was just like all the way up there. Mind your business. I just noticed shit.
All right.
You're not even recording footage. Don't complain about my camera. Oh, I can't see your face, Mitchell. I feel so disconnected.
Wait, what day are you supposed to be doing the shed thing?
On Wednesday.
Fuck. I was going to say that was going to be the day we was going to do the live.
I could just do it Thursday. We can do it, and we can do earlier.
Thursday's the recording day.
Oh, you want the live event thing?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Well, we'll do it the Wednesday after.
I have a job interview. Thank God, even though it's via phone. But I have a job interview on Tuesday. But after that, I'm not doing anything. Like I said, it's my spring break.
Okay.
Yeah,
you want to do it on Tuesday?
Well, let me look and see what time this is. 1 sec. All right, got that.
I'm going to be so tired next week.
I'm going to finally get some rest next week.
That's going to be so crazy.
Yeah, so I have that interview on Tuesday at 2:45. So and it's one of those things where they set it to like 3, so it's going to be about a quick 15 minutes. So after that, I'll be open. I'm not doing anything else. So if you wanted to do the live event thing, I'm down.
All right, cool.
I could also do Monday.
If you're just tuning in, this is just me and Mitch talking about this new thing we're going to try out called Milk and Toast Live. We're going to be like reviewing old episodes or like just playing old episodes while y'all watch and talk along with us. And it's going to be a big party thing.
Oh, so, is that what we was doing?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. That's going to be embarrassing.
I know. You never know what we're doing. It's fine.
Yeah. But I'm here. I'm
your host, Logan, and this is the Milk and Toast Podcast. I'm here with my best friend, Mitch. Say hi to the people, Mitch. Is that Donnie from Wild Thunders?
Yes, good for you.
You did that one before.
Oh, did I really?
Yup.
I did not do Donnie from the...
Yes, you did.
Oh, my God, bro. Why do you gotta, like, keep count of everything? No one likes a fucking dude who keeps count of everything.
I just have this knowledge in my head of all the things you've done on the show.
That's a weird knowledge of keeping up with all the weird shit I do for, shits and giggles.
I wish it wasn't like this, but it is.
In any case, hello, everyone. It's good to see you again.
Damn.
I hope we have a great show.
When a man has to admit defeat.
I'm not going to take that anywhere because I'm a bigger man, as you've all witnessed.
Well, bigger man, we have a big show to do today. We have a lot to go over because apparently the world is at war. It's Women's History Month. Not the whole world
yet, but Happy Women's History Month.
Not the whole world Happy Women's History Month. What else do we got going on?
Oh, I gotta look up some more figures now. Shit, yo. Damn. Yo, this shit is a lot of work, bro. Trying to respect everybody.
Yeah,
no wonder definitely. Why people stay racist.
Wow.
Oh, fuck them. Anyway, so I'll go do some research.
I mean, part of our show is about that. But I don't want to jump into that too soon. Hold on 1 second. All right, sorry, we're back.
Oh, we weren't?
What was I saying? No, we weren't rolling.
We were talking about the show, or world being at war, more importantly, Women's History Month.
Yeah, I was on a roll there, like wasn't I? Damn.
Yeah,
yes. Before we jump into that, I wanted to jump into another topic with Mitch. Mitch, forever you've been wanting to ask the question of... Actually, no. You didn't want to ask that question. What you wanted to say is you didn't ask to be here. and we're gonna just jump into that because you have questions about your own mortality, and I think
said,
that's.
Did I ask to be here was the question, and I also said we didn't have to do this first because
we're doing it first. We are starting a new tradition on the show where we talk about the spicy topics first.
Okay, that one isn't that spicy, bro. It's kind of
spicy.
Okay, all right. Well, the question is, did I ask to be here? So, all my religious, spiritual, and I guess science people strap in because it's like a complicated question, as we all know. It's like, Big Bang or God in one sense. But so for me, there is two spiritual outcomes in my mind. Is either there was some kind of plan or lack thereof, and there was an accidental creation, or we as sentient beings, our higher self specifically chose, to vibrate in the frequency that is this plane of existence.
Are you asking if we have our own souls and oh my God, what's that movie?
Not asking if we have our own souls because I believe in a soul.
That movie where the Pixar movie that just came out, Jamie Foxx was in it, and then
wasn't that Soul?
Soul,
yeah, it was called Soul. Yeah. I didn't see that one. I heard it was good. Although, we got to keep black people for longer.
So that's what I'm saying. Minutes. Are you saying that we have our own consciousness or something, and that
and that aspect, yes, there's consciousness, and we chose to vibrate into this existence on this plane because there are multiple planes to reality.
I'm listening to you, and I'm thinking about the movie Soul now.
Okay, I didn't see it, so you're gonna have to help me.
Okay, so what happens in Soul basically is, well, spoiler alert for fucking Soul. I guess.
Good. We almost forgot.
Almost forgot.
Almost.
But I'm getting better. All right,
that's good. So spoiler alert. So this is spoiler alert for Soul if you haven't seen.
Yeah, but spoiler alert for Soul. Basically, what happens is somebody dies. And then their soul goes up, to the upper room, right? And he's like, oh, well, I had this piano thing that I was supposed to do, so I can't die right now. So you need to send me back to Earth. And they're like, nah, you're kind of dead right now. So
nigga, what?
He tries his best to go back to Earth and find his body again. And then his body was in a coma. So it was he wasn't even dead when they sent him back. But he finds a way to jump down. But there's all these little baby souls, right, that are also in training to become human souls, right?
Oh,
so they can jump down and then be a part of human existence, right? And what is crazy to me about this is I'm listening to you, and when you describe, this idea of consciousness, going into a body to become a new body, that sounds like what the Scientologists believe. And then when
going into a new body.
Well, hold on.
Form.
Well, hold on, because now I think the movie Soul is about Scientology.
Okay, we didn't come here for this. I didn't come here for this. You can do that later because I have no idea. But doesn't Scientology also involve aliens?
Yes.
So I'm not talking aliens. I mean, we could talk about aliens, but I wasn't talking aliens.
Okay.
I wasn't talking aliens. We can, but I wasn't talking aliens.
It just sounds very Scientology-ist in here. I was just and you are an actor, so...
Okay, all right. First off, that's a little prejudice, just because, Tom Cruise is a Scientologist.
It's prejudice.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually very prejudiced. Yeah, the fuck? Actors at their the highest precipice, they become Scientologists.
It's true,
all right, you've passed the Bohemian stage. Welcome to Scientology.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
I mean, well, how much they paying? Because I could pretend
the Scientologists.
I could pretend. Depending how much to check.
I mean, Tom Cruise is a Scientologist.
I know, and I'm gonna make bank. So I'm how much?
Real bank.
Listen, I gotta believe. I just pretend. You know what I'm saying? Although Will Smith, you hear less about. It's funny.
Yeah,
it's really funny. You don't really hear about Will Smith because I remember that, but I never think of him being a Scientologist, bro.
Yeah, right.
But apparently he is. In any case, but yeah, that to me, there's the possibility when you think of your higher self, but I don't think aliens have anything to do with that in that aspect. But that's just a united consciousness of humanity or some deal like that. But to me, I'm technically what I actually believe is, in the process of creation and truth. You're being a creator. I'm not sure if it's all benevolence based. The part of me that's empirically like based is just like, don't have enough for that. It feels benevolent, so I rock with that. But nonetheless, there's an aspect of this creator. What if creator like created us, and then in our existence, in the grand scheme of the universe, we was just like, ooh, look at this planet. And we consciously chose to make the decision to come down and stuff like that. In which case, and now the reason it's funny is because I was joking. I was like, I ain't asked to be here. But then it's always like on the counter side, like,
did I?
Well, what if you did?
What are the consequences if you did ask to be
there
here?
aren't really per se consequences. It's just, why is the answer you're looking for yourself. And that's something we all kind of, as human beings, we're all really going why, but we don't stay on the why long enough because it hurts our heads, for lack of a better explanation. We don't have time for whys. Why am I here? Okay, simplest example, my parents, had sex. Well, why are they there? Well, parents before them did that. Well, why are those parents there? So forth and so forth till you get to that 0 point.
Mm-hmm.
That zero.
Damn, you dying.
Excuse me.
You about to not be here.
No, you're not gonna soul me. You're not gonna soul. This ain't an episode of Soul. Just a little flimmy, and I need to do something about that. In any case, but no, then you get to 0 point because at some point everyone has a starting ancestor. There was a starting point in your genealogical line.
Okay.
Somewhere. But now, what created that person? So scientists will say a Big Bang coupled with the growth of molecules into cells, into tissues and so forth and evolution.
But you're concerned about the why of it.
Well, everyone's really concerned about the why, although scientists tend to focus more on the how because, once again, getting stuck on the why, you may not be able to find that answer, so it's almost like you're wasting your time. I don't agree because I think that's the most important question, but nonetheless, like I don't have any means to determine or prove the why. You feel me? Other than the belief in a higher power that I do believe in.
So what bothers you about this subject the most?
It wasn't necessarily bothering me. I just thought it'd be funny to talk about because when we brought it up, we was joking or something. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, man, why? It's like, I didn't ask to be here. And then I was like, or did I? And it was supposed to just be funny. But, it is a question. I guess it's not a question that people ask themselves because a lot of people don't think in that capacity. Mm. But it does bring up the greater question of like the why. Why do we exist? Why are we here? Why is this the way things work and function?
I almost feel like if you chose to be here, it's kind of worse because like...
Why?
Because, like, what if you're just, like, wasting your life away, but you chose to be here?
How would you be wasting your life in an infinite universe?
Stop it. You can waste your life in an infinite
I
universe.
mean, a human lifespan's like 100 years, Logan. What's less that in the grand scheme? A lot of people lately, you've been seeing stories, people living at, like, 100, 102, 110 and shit.
Yeah, but that's not, like, the norm.
It's not the norm. The average is, like, 80, 90. I mean, 80, really. But, like, still, like, let's think about the full scope, and we'll say like, what's 100 years in the grand scheme of the universe? Think about it.
Nothing, like a fingernail.
Like, yeah, even less than. So what would it really be a waste? If you came down here, all that's really going on is, what am I learning when I return to whatever existence I was doing before, if that would be the case? What have I learned? What did I not learn? Who am I? Have I changed for the positive? Have I changed for the worse?
Agree with that if our lives didn't affect so many other people's lives. Like if your life was completely meaningless to the point where like your existence never made a damn difference to like anybody else, then like I would probably agree with that. But
which is almost impossible.
Huh?
Have you ever thought about that? How that's actually almost impossible to have absolutely zero effect on anyone?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
You know that, right? People don't think in that capacity, though.
Like just the act of you being born upends everybody's life. You know what I mean? It upends your parents' life. It just
even the doctors they have to prepare their entire lives just to be able to do that for people.
Yeah, exactly.
You know
what I mean?
Like that's literally almost 100% like impossible to have zero net effect on either your environment or people around you. It's almost literally impossible. I'm not gonna say 100% because you never know, but like literally like 99%.
But see, that's what I mean. Right out the gate, your life has value, just like that. So because there's so much invested into your life and around your life before you're even like able to think about your life in your own terms.
You don't
You know
feel
what I
that way
mean?
once you start growing up, though. That's the sad part.
I know, but that's the part I think that's the part we don't think about as much because I think we don't grow up with enough. I can't speak today. Sorry, guys. I can't. You don't think about enough. Like we don't have enough emphasis on the value of our lives growing up. Like we're told what to do. We're told, hey, go do this, study that, blah blah blah, and our
Yes.
life is like laid out before us, and like even through the question of like why are we here and all this and that, it's like you're here to get the fuck out of my way right now. Like, you know, you don't get like real good answers when you're a kid. And then at the same time, like even if you come from a religious background or something, you know, the answers still aren't that great as far as, you know, why God wants you here. And it's like the answers are still like, well, you have a purpose. And it's like, well, what is that? And it's like, well, that's between you and your Lord. And it's like, what the fuck?
It's like, but
you know,
I mean, but to keep it sick, because like in every capacity, it's kind of low key like that. Whether you're looking at it like in a Christian viewpoint or if you're a Hindu, regardless, it's like, yo, why am I here? And religion helps people. And this is why I can't, as you know, I'm no longer a religious person because I don't pretend that I never have been. You know, I grew up a Baptist due to the influence of my father, but nonetheless, I'm like, I can't stomach religion sometimes, but I would never, ever, ever take it away from the human populace. There's just too much, because to me, there's the aspect of history. There's an aspect of spiritual history, you know, to specific areas of the world that you can learn from. So I can't never know. Those are stories that should be there. There are teaching lessons, you know, that people should know or remember. Because as we know, those who don't, you know, read their history are doomed to repeat it in one aspect. And in the spiritual way, it's like pay attention to some of those parables or the stories you listen to. There's knowledge there. It doesn't seem like it even, and this is why I look even to like occult hidden stuff. And occult gets this negative connotation when all it means really is just secret. You know, the stuff they try to keep away from you that you should know. But you know, everywhere, every single person on the planet, why am I here? You know, I didn't ask to be here. You know, I didn't ask to be here, and you get resentful. And maybe that's why, and in some capacity, I subconsciously was like joking about it. Because like we get so resentful. It's like, I didn't ask to be here. But imagine when you finally do meet your higher power, you know, or, well, if you believe in a higher power, some people don't. But, like, when you meet your higher power and it's like, yo, what the fuck was that? And the higher power's just like, nigga, I don't know, you tell me. Like, what you learned.
You wanted to be there.
And then you get all your memories back. It's like, oh, why you let me do that? And the higher power's like, you have free will. I don't control you. like, you wanted this. I said no. And you was like, yo, don't tell me what to do. And I was like, I can't. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, I know. It's funny. But so, you know, I bring up the counter argument because it's so many people get resentful, and it's an understandable resentment. Like, I didn't ask to be here. And even if the case isn't that, you know, you didn't ask to be here, it's like, what's up with that resentfulness? Because the fact is, and that's the main problem for me, I think, because the fact is, we live in a world, we have these lives. Some people don't even have them. I mean, you know, Gary Vaynerchuk, that dude, he had said that one time, like really popular, like millionaire, billionaire or something. Yeah, he's funny, but he was like, yeah, you know, and in this life, and mind you, you actually got one. Some people don't even get one, which I don't even want to get into the metaphysical aspect of that, but some people don't even get one, and you actually got one, because it is a gift. But the way it's been built, we have all these issues, but you can't ever forget that life is a gift, man. I don't know about you, but like, I truly am one of those people, even though it's hard sometimes. Yo, sunlight, how you not gonna be thankful for sunlight? You breathing in air, and you know, sometimes it feels good. Like, whoa, you can taste flavorful things. You know what I mean? You can feel, touch, see, if you can. You know what I mean? Some people can't do that, and even then, still, like you're a deaf person, you can't hear. But, you know, now you learn an entire new language. You know, some of your other senses, you know, are maybe a little bit more astute. There's all this potential. It really is a gift that we have. Scary sometimes because other creatures, beings have been given that same gift. You know, it must have been really fucking hard, living in like the Paleolithic era, dealing with fucking mammoths and shit, being trampled by mammoths, hunting saber-toothed tigers or whatever.
Oh, facts.
But
Yeah.
nonetheless, those humans were still thankful for the little things they had when they weren't dealing with trying to survive. And it's like, we have these lives that truly are fucking gifts. We're on this planet. We're not sure why, but we know we have things in it that we can enjoy. We know there's things we don't like, but there's things we can enjoy. But all the time we find resentment because maybe this person makes me feel this way. These people are doing this thing, and I can't live this gift of an experience I've been given to its full potential because it feels like there's so many roadblocks in the way. Mm-hmm. And you get resentful. It's like, why, God? It's, to me, honestly, it's why some people aren't religious or spiritual, because they're like, why would I care about stuff like that? This person did this to me. And it's like, It's like, okay, I guess to be fair, that is one way to look at it. You know, I'm lucky enough, and I do say, like, you know, it's always easy to count your curses, but you got to count your blessings too. You know, my parents immigrated from Haiti, a country with lots of political turmoil, yet somehow I still got two parents who decided to stay together for me, loved me, brought me up pretty well as best as they could. It wasn't perfect. Trust me, I could tell you stories. It wasn't perfect, but they were pretty much doing their best by me. Pops called me today just to check on me. You know, that's love. Just say, yo, I know, you know, he's waiting on tax information so he can help me get some money to help me out in my life. That's a fucking gift. Right. But I'm too busy feeling down and out about some girl who didn't let me hit or something, you know what I'm saying? Or some girl who didn't give me a chance, you know what I mean? Or maybe I lost a job. I didn't do well in school. I'm feeling down because we're literally almost at war. Well, actually at war, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's like, I can't appreciate these gifts, so I get resentful. But now flip the script, though. It's like, yeah, who put me here? What if I put me here? How does that change everything?
That's what I'm saying. That
I know it does. It does do a lot, though.
That changes a lot. Yeah.
But see, and here's the thing: people think the concepts have to be mutually exclusive. Like, oh, if I put myself here, there is no God. It's like, no, God gave you free will, and then you, with free will, put yourself here. Imagine.
Yo. Yeah.
What happens to the resentment? You have to point the finger at a different person. And I think maybe that's kind of where I was coming from, like as a joke. Because I truly think like there was like a sort of plan. I didn't per se ask for this. I don't think I asked for this, honestly. You know, I'm willing to entertain the thought, the idea, because the possibility's there. But I generally think like, you know, just flowing along in the ethos, chilling. And then someone was like, hey, you're going here. And it was like, wait, what's happening? Oh my God, what is this existence? But nonetheless, I still think about the other side, because just in terms of like dealing with that resentment side of things.
Just earlier today, I wasn't necessarily thinking about this topic per se, but I was thinking and then it made me think about that we were going to talk about this, but I was thinking about how impossible our existence is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's very impossible for you to be here right now. Like, the odds, like, people think the odds are with you when it comes to your existence. But I really think that, like, the odds are against you. Like,
wow, I'm surprised to hear that from you.
Well, yeah, because, like, just like how we're born is like, you know, when you're going from, like, you know, there's like a billion cells that have to reach like one egg, you know what I mean? And then like, who said that you were going to be that cell? You know what I mean? And then all the complications that come with like being a person that even gets to be born, you know what I mean? Like, and then the fact that like we're on this planet that like is like hurtling through space, and then like you happen to be one of the life forms that get like the lottery ticket of being here. Like, it's a lot of shit that has to happen for you to be here.
The fact that the Earth is habitable is one of that's like,
yes, exactly.
Understand, because we have our literally examples of what would happen, because Venus is right here, and if the Earth had been there, there'd be no Earth. So we have Venus chilling here. You have Mars, which is, there's a few things to say about Mars, but nonetheless, there's no atmosphere enough to support life, and then you have Earth. So it's like even Earth existing, being habitable is like a chance, you know what I'm saying? It's easier to be inanimate matter or energy than being a living, you know, life form. It's easier in this universe to exist as inanimate matter, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
We have to be formed from said matter to even exist, and then we're only living because, like, you know, there are I guess, functions that happen within our living forms for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And, people don't really think about that. It's just like, oh, this is what it is. There's no reason to ask why. It's easier to deal with the how, which is science. And nothing against science. Science is one of my favorite subjects, and I think it definitely has its place. Definitely useful. Mm-hmm. But it's like, it's crazy. It's like, nope, there's no need to deal with the why. That's not a, I believe, I'd have to ask some friends, but I believe scientists would say that isn't an endeavor that you can, quantify. I can't quantify the why, so what's the point of wasting efforts on it? They're just there's
it's
nothing
almost
scientific
irrelevant to the question of science because of the way the scientific process works.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's not that there's no reason to ask why. It's that why at some point becomes irrelevant to the question you're trying to solve. You're just
I'm not going to be
how
able
to. How did this thing or system come to be?
Yeah, but I can't get that out of my head. And there, funny enough, lies I think the main difference between like religious and scientific based people.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a and I was gonna say, oh, I forgot my words today. Well, anyway, there's like an intermixing between the two, but nonetheless, like that's the line. It's like, are you why or are you how?
I hate that dichotomy, though. I don't
like it either. I'm just like, that's what it looks like.
Invalidates one or the other. And I think a lot of people use that to be like, you have to be one side or the other. When I think that's foolish. When everything has its own purpose. Like I have headphones right now, and I have a microphone in front of me. But if I try to use my microphone as my headphones, it might not work all the time. And if I try to use my headphones as my microphone, that might not sound the best or even work all the time. So it's like everything has its function. So it's like let me collect myself and actually gather my thoughts about what it is I'm trying to
It's complicated. Take your time, man. It's not an easy discussion.
It seems very foolish to look at something and its function and then put all of your life and effort behind it as far as, this is my belief system and this is all that I'm going to believe. And this is the best thing that's ever happened. And it's nothing else, when something also fills the cracks of those beliefs. Like my microphone can't do the same thing my headphones do, and my headphones can't do the same thing my microphone does, So why would I just believe in one over the other? You know what I mean? And so often, that's what I've been trying to say. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the time to put that out there.
I was giving you time. I'm sorry. I didn't know you felt rushed.
But no, I didn't feel rushed. It's just like, it's just.
No, I know.
Yeah.
You can do it, Logan.
Thank you.
You can
guys.
do it when you try.
But no, that's what I mean. It's just like, it just seems weird and crazy and kind of stupid to live your life that way when it's like, we need science. Like this whole thing about being anti-science and you can't like be a Christian and like believe in science is like the biggest bullshit. Like the idea that you can't like be religious and like believe like in the scientific process is like,
what makes me the saddest about that though, that one thing, and then we can get back to regular. The thing that makes me saddest about it is that science was mostly being enacted originally by religious people. It's how other heads who weren't necessarily too religious found out science in the first place, which to me means science is just as divine as anything else.
Right.
The process of seeing how things work for you to understand, to, and act, to interact overall with the universe in a greater capacity is divine in my head. You know what I mean? And it comes from those like Christian monks or like different types of monks all over the world who were like, this is how this works. And that's how, even in most science books, they have to acknowledge that.
It was supposed to be like it's supposed to be like an exploration of the thing. It's like you're trying to have a deeper understanding of the world around you. And that was not looked at as like a horrible or bad thing. And now today we have this thing where it's like we have either you're like either a Christian who doesn't believe in science, which is crazy, or you are a snobby scientist that's like, religion. And that's also, to me, just fucking insane
Yeah,
because science doesn't fill all the cracks. Science can tell you
Science isn't concerned with that.
Science can tell you the chemicals in your brain that causes you to love, but it can't tell you why you love.
Why? It won't even try to. It's like, nah,
You know what
I
I
need to
mean?
do all that. I need to do all that. Why I need to do all that? Like, seriously, and it's frustrating sometimes because it's like knowing the how is cool, and everybody's like, I just want to manipulate things, but it's just like, I don't know why it has this effect on meaning when it's just like, oh, so we just do this. It just, to me, I'm not stating this as fact. It's just, to me, that feels so empty. I'm like, yo, what is this empty existence?
I don't feel like it's that empty.
I'm not speaking for anyone but myself right now. It's just that's how it literally feels. I'm just like, I feel really empty.
Why do you feel like it's so empty of an existence?
I honestly couldn't even properly tell you because it's literally just a feeling. I'm not that person at all. I'm too busy trying to live, man. Trying to figure out how. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, it's just like, I was like, all right, so I'm doing all of this, but what am I doing it for? And so I guess it becomes a motivation thing because it's like, all right, yeah, so I'm here to love, or I'm supposed to start families and children. What? Like, I'm supposed to eat and survive, but why? What's the purpose? But you just keep doing it.
I think my problem was that for so long I was coasting too much on life, like in general, like I was just coasting so much that like I guess like I was having a good time or not having a good time or whatever it was. I was just so unconcerned about life, and now my birthday is coming up and I'm going to be 30 soon. And it's like, now I'm like being really super reflective of like, well, what do I have now? And like, what is my future going to look like and everything like that. And maybe that'll pass after I get over being 30 and whatever. And then I'll go back to coasting in life again. But at least in the meantime, it's really made me very aware of like just life in general. And like, even like my mom before she passed, like maybe like a year or so before she passed, like I was dating a lot and I really got my heart hurt once. And then like, after I like had that ordeal, she's like, okay, are you like gonna like really get serious and settle down now? And I was like, I don't know, maybe, whatever. But it did make me think about like being in love and like actually like finding somebody who actually cared about me, you know what I mean? And like gave a damn.
That's a hard thing to find sometimes, man.
And that like did change my mind about a whole bunch of stuff. And then that caused me to like, kind of look around and like think about it. Like I was still, doing me, but at the same time, I had that thought in the back of my head. And I think the purpose sometimes of finding your purpose is to like be aware that you need one, but not necessarily to obsess over one, like I think like whatever our thinking is sometimes, and this is coming from me, but like, I think 2% of what our purpose is, like the awareness of that is that we should be aware at least 2% in our minds of what our purpose should be, but like 98% focus on like living. You know what I mean? Like I feel like some people are so hyper focused on what their purpose is that like they try to achieve that, and then like if they achieve it, then they like have no purpose anymore. You know what I mean? And
in
I
that
think
capacity, yeah.
I think what happens is they don't like actually understand why that thing was their purpose, what the journey was. Like your purpose isn't necessarily achievement. I don't believe anybody's purpose is achievement, to be honest, like to achieve a thing. Like I don't believe anybody's life purpose on earth is to accomplish something. Like I don't believe that. I don't think, because I think
what about Jesus?
Jesus?
Yeah. What about Jesus?
What about
Christian
Jesus?
Boy?
What
well,
about
you
Jesus?
said no one's purpose was accomplishing anything, but according to the Bible, that man came down to accomplish a few things.
I wonder if he thinks of it as an achievement.
No. That's a separate question to ask. The question is, do you think of it as an achievement?
I don't know.
What you mean you don't know? I mean, I do. I do.
No,
personally.
I've never thought of it in that way. Like if it's an achievement or not.
Well, because you made a very bold statement.
Well, to me, because like Jesus is a perfect being. You know what I mean?
I see. Okay.
So it's not necessarily me trying to be sacrilegious. It's that, you know, this is a perfect being that was always going to accomplish whatever he set out to accomplish in the first place. Okay. There's nothing it's not that the crucifixion wasn't a hard trial for him to go through, or even like his 40 days and 40 nights in the wilderness was a hard trial for him to go through. But he's kind of set up to succeed anyways. You know what I mean? Like he has a human form and human body so that like he feels pain and he feels, you know, the same way that like humans feel when their bodies are. Yeah, but it's exactly. Body. It's like you can be harmed, but at the same time, nothing can overcome you. And that's kind of the point. But at the same time, when we talking about an accomplishment, I kind of think of an accomplishment as something that would have a stake attached to it. You know?
Okay, so question. Because now, see, I do not consider Jesus a perfect being. A really, 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 really amazing being, but not perfect.
Why?
Is that now because... So this is unfortunately going to sound sacrilegious, and I hope my father isn't listening. But I don't look. I don't look at
every episode.
Don't say that. I don't look at Jesus as the actual like Son of God. I'd have to get into that deeper. But you know, and us all being children of God, we place this image on Jesus that I don't think was actually there. That I just think people put there. Understandably, mind you, I'm not like saying anyone's making a bad call. If you was going to bet on someone potentially being actual God or not, you know, Jesus might be a good bet. But like, I don't actually look at him as a perfect being. So in that sense, if he isn't a perfect being, does what he did all of a sudden become an accomplishment or achievement? Or
if he's not a perfect being?
Yeah, in your head.
If he's not a perfect being, there's no point.
In terms of the religious sense? Because I'm talking strictly in terms of what you said, in terms of like, you know, no person's purpose is to accomplish or achieve something. But if he's not a perfect being, does that all of a sudden, you know, make him now a person whose purpose was to accomplish something, or is that still a no? Like that wasn't his purpose now?
I think as far as like, you know,
And you can take your time. Yeah, you can take your time on it.
No, I think that Jesus had free will. If I could say that.
Well, perfect being or not, we would still say he had free will.
Yeah.
Because having free will doesn't necessarily have to take away from being a perfect being. If anything, it probably makes you a perfect being. You'd probably need free will to be a perfect being, in my opinion, humbly. Because that's a
which is interesting, to be honest.
Thing to say. I know
which
that's
is interesting.
Different discussion in of itself.
Because like if you can't fail, like, and you still have free will, that's very like. That's crazy. You know, that's what I was thinking. You know, that's kind of crazy.
Like it is kind of, but maybe that's supposed to be the full extent to free will. But regardless of that, because that's a separate conversation. Like, yeah, you know, does that mean
if he's imperfect, does that mean that like, I mean, it does kind of make it more of an accomplishment, I guess, in my eyes. I'm just talking from my eyes.
Would you say like, because your statement was, you know, I don't think anyone's put on the earth, you know, necessarily accomplish anything. Now, when we're thinking about me, yourself, our generation, what we've experienced in history, because none of us was alive during, you know, prehistoric times, anything like that. But for us, that kind of makes sense. It doesn't seem like anyone has any extent purpose. But
no, I didn't say anybody doesn't have a purpose. I believe everybody has a purpose.
I don't mean it like that. It's just that because you said for us, sure, it would make sense that you're not necessarily here to accomplish anything. Yes. But, you know, I don't know if that's per se actually the case, or are we just stuck in some kind of loop?
I mean like this. When I say that I don't believe that anybody's here to accomplish anything, I believe that your purpose isn't to accomplish something. It's not that you can't accomplish something. Maybe I should say it like that. It's not that you can't accomplish something. And the Jesus example was interesting to me because he is set out to do a specific task on Earth. So it's like, well, is he accomplishing a thing? You know, so that was interesting to me to answer in that way. But like for me, your purpose is not an accomplishment. You know what I mean? So your purpose isn't to accomplish something. I think the way I'm trying to say it even would apply to Jesus in the way I'm trying to mean it now, which is that like I believe that your purpose could be to fulfill a task, but does that mean that you would necessarily accomplish something? I think your purpose goes beyond your own existence. You know what I mean? I think you are supposed to fulfill a role within the piece of the puzzle, you know, but that doesn't mean necessarily that you'll be able to see the end result of what it is you are tasked to complete. You know what I mean? Mm. Like if you look at like a figure like MLK, he doesn't ever get to see the fruits of his labor, you know, and then he, even for whatever glimpse he did see, you know, he saw that, you know, there are more problems that come along that another generation is going to have to solve because he is not going to be there for that. You know what I mean? Right. Even in like, if you take a biblical figure like Moses, he never makes it to the promised land, even though he leads the Israelites out of slavery. Or if you wanted to talk about Jesus, like Jesus can offer us salvation, but does that mean that we as humans are going to take it? That's where I was going with the whole accomplishment thing with him as well. Is that like, you know, you can like, there's all these factors that at the end of the day, like, you can never really go like 100% accomplished. Like I think video games give us like a false sense of accomplishment sometimes because like you do a task, you complete it.
I need those achievements, bro.
Yeah, you get your achievement, but then that's it. You're done. You know what I mean?
Well, then I go play something else and get more achievements.
But I know, but life isn't like that. Life isn't like that. Life is like...
Well, you say that, but so it's like people you name... It's like, it's almost as if where we're going is like, yeah, life isn't about achievement unless divine ordinance sets in. Because then you got something to accomplish, bro.
Well, what do you mean?
When you think about, because look, think about it. So Moses wasn't really doing anything. And then all of a sudden, you know, he was living in Egypt. And then all of a sudden, due to divine intervention, literal divine intervention, you know, his entire life changed and he had straight up purpose and achievement to do. I mean, we could say that for a lot of figures, mythologically or not. I mean, but Hercules, the Buddha.
To say that somebody achieved something to me means that like they were able to like finish their whatever purpose they were given. And I think your purpose outlives you. I don't think you can like you got the Israelites out of Egypt, but like they don't have a home yet. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't until like 40 years later that these people find, you know, where their new homeland is supposed to be. And then even after that, even when they do cross over the river and like do all that, they still have to fight people for new land and all this and all that. Like there's people living there. It's not even like that. There's not people there. Like they still have to come through another struggle. And so like that's derivative of a person and what that person, how that person carried the torch to that point there. But the torch must be carried throughout the ages, you know, throughout our lifetimes. And how we carry it can be our purpose, but we have to live with the knowledge. Sometimes I think it's good to know that, you know, you might not see the end of something that you're trying to get done, but the purpose isn't to see the end of it, is what I'm trying to say. It's like your purpose isn't wrapped up in how much you can complete your task. Your purpose is wrapped up in how much you can carry your task a lot of the time. It's like if you have somebody to take care of, or somebody to guide, or even maybe that person is yourself, there's no way you can be 100% within that achievement. But what you can be is the person who did take care of that person at an extended period of time, or you did take care of this problem, and then, or you were the one that started the solution to the problem. You know what I mean? But to start thinking about your purpose, and I think it becomes a little toxic when we start thinking that we can have a purpose, that we can accomplish something, and then like we can accomplish it in our lifetime, and then that's it, we're done. Like, how can you die before you die would be like the question to me, and that would be the answer. Is like, that to me is death. Is like, if you were able to accomplish your purpose before you died, then you were already dead. Because how could you accomplish a purpose before you are gone? If you're still here, you still have a purpose.
Okay, so I feel what you're saying, but like people can still do amazing stuff, and like it's okay to rest after.
Sure.
You know, so it's like, so say someone achieves something like really great. Let's use something simpler because we're getting like really complicated. Let's use like some athletes. They have realistic goals that they want to achieve. And now, of course, they never stop. They never stop working to see if they can get better. But, you know, Usain Bolt, for instance, winning that first gold medal, he still achieved something. Now, that doesn't mean that had to be his only achievement. Obviously, he went on to do more and wanted to do more.
Right.
But he still had set a clear goal and then got it done. He didn't need to keep running after that. He could have just stopped. That's his achievement.
Who said
maybe that wasn't his purpose?
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
That.
Who said running is his purpose, though? Is his purpose in life to be running?
Well, so no one was saying that was his purpose, but he might have, after these achievements, he might start feeling like, hey, this is what I was meant to do after all of that. Maybe that is my purpose. Now, if he accepts that within himself, is that like, you going to be like, yo, bro, quit saying that's your purpose and shit, man. You're like, no, but I feel good. Nah, shut the fuck up. Your purpose ain't achieved yet. But I want to stop running, man.
No. See, that's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly what I mean. I don't believe that Usain Bolt's purpose in life is to run.
But what if Usain believes his purpose?
That would be between Usain and his creator. But I think if I was going to pontificate upon his life, like, I would say, Usain, what would happen if you broke your toe right now?
I mean, well, him right now, he'll be fine for the rest of his life.
Well, I mean, like, before.
Well, before, different. Yeah.
And still, like, after, like, you don't run anymore. So how's running your purpose?
I've achieved my purpose. That's why my toes broken. I fully achieved my purpose to the point where I've broken a toe, can no longer run. My purpose has been achieved. I'm just gonna chill, live, and wait for death to claim me.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what you're doing. You're waiting for death to claim you.
That like, I just wait for my time now.
Your purpose is not finite. That's what I mean. I think I should say it like that. Your purpose is not finite.
That is a much better way of putting that.
Well, I thought I should explain it first but whatever.
No, definitely. Well, we got there eventually. Took you fucking forever, you goddamn floozy.
Whatever.
But
anyways,
no, purpose is not finite. I agree with that. That's a good statement. Purpose is not finite, ladies and gentlemen. That's a really good statement.
We have some things to talk about besides that.
All right, fine, bro. Jeez.
I know. We got to move on. Sometimes we just got to move on. We spent a lot
of time on that.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about the Ukrainian refugee situation. And
you ready to talk about that? Because I not going to lie, like it kind of mostly just makes me sad. I'm glad to hear that they're fighting back. Like all the respect to the warriors in Ukraine, men and women, deciding like, listen, I'm here. Like, why wouldn't I do anything else but defend the homeland that I, love? So, respect to them, honor to them, and I hope they're doing well. Like, to fight against an invading force as, like, a person who literally... Because we're talking, like... Do you understand? We're talking, like, Minutemen, bro. Like, during the revolution, like, oh, hey, I was just a farmer. All right, young Chad, I need you to pick up this musket and defend your country from invaders. What now? Pick it up and fire, bro. Like, have you seen the stories? These people are literally like students, artists, just random people, like a grocery store worker. Like, all right, I'm picking up arms. They're just training people. You know what I mean? Like that's the type of, and it takes a special type of heart to do that. You're afraid the
Well,
entire time and you're fighting still.
yes, I don't want to like run over anybody's like effort to like protect themselves in a literal war. Um, there are certain things about the Ukrainian situation I wanted to talk about because, like, one being the refugee crisis, and another thing I wanted to talk about is just a lot of the language that we use when we describe war and when we talk about people. And I think this all kind of comes together because for me, I said that I didn't want to speak about this last week
Because it
because
had just happened.
it just happened and we don't know what is going on and why it's happening and what's the like we had the idea of the motivations and whatever.
Yeah,
But
we have
like
the history of what could have made this happen.
exactly. But it wasn't necessarily to what extent it was going on and how far people were going to take things and and we are literally like a week out from then now. And I've been watching, not just excuse me, not just how this war has been going along, but also how people's reactions to the war has been going on. And people's reactions to people's reactions, And one thing that is, I don't know if it's bothering me so much so, or it's just interesting to me. But one thing that's interesting to me about the refugee crisis is how open armed we seem to be about the Ukrainian refugee crisis and the language that surrounds the Ukrainian refugees, when it wasn't that long ago when we had a refugee crisis in like Syria, or
True.
we could
Very,
talk
very
about
true.
like refugees coming from like Central America, when they're coming up and they're trying to cross the border, and now they're in detention camps all of a sudden on United States soil because we're trying to figure out who these people are. But and that's the line that's given, but it's really just to deter other like refugees from that place from coming here. You know what I mean?
You want to know what the conservatives would say?
What?
Well, not out loud, but you know what their racist asses probably would say?
What?
Well, at least during Trump's era. Oh, thank God. Sounds like those are people coming from shithole countries.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they actually said, though.
That's what they actually said.
Yeah, they actually said that with the whole mouths and stuff. And
it is fair for you to say that because we have only had really a positive reception from people coming from Ukraine, and it's nothing against Ukraine, of course, but it's not about Ukraine at that point. It's actually about the global scheme and how we think of other places.
Yeah, my problem isn't necessarily that like, oh well, we treated the Syrian refugees like shit, so we should treat Ukrainian refugees like shit. That's not even my problem. No. And like even now we are having a problem with people of darker skin tones who live in Ukraine trying to flee Ukraine being stopped at the border of like Poland, like not being given a hard time either by the Ukrainian government or the Polish government. I don't really know because there's a lot of misinformation that's going on, like as far as like all situations with this whole Ukraine thing is going. There's just bad information everywhere about everything. But one of the things that are happening there is that like it's hard for Black and brown people to flee from the country or get out of the country, even though a war is going on.
You remember that as it is, I hate to make light of a situation, but you remember that scene from Family Guy, and it's a meme now, from Family Guy, and it's a meme now, where it has the color code for how you rank if someone's like
exactly that.
From like, oh, this is safe to like terrorist, and it goes from like pink skin, down to like black bro.
Right.
And sadly, political joke it may be, but sadly it's a very, very real thing.
And that's kind of crazy. What's crazier about that is that like these people are fleeing the country, right? Because two white countries are fighting each other, but the black people are trying to leave, and they're like, "Nah, I don't trust you." It's like the white people
Like,
are
what?
fighting.
The white people fighting. What did we?
It's not.
Bro, doesn't it make sense for me to be gone?
It's not me.
Like I came here,
like,
and some of them came from other countries just to be there. I mean,
Right.
and people, we really give, especially in America, we give immigrants a hard time. But do you know what it means for a person to flee the place that they thought that they had a status quo that was safe to them to go do better elsewhere? Because mind you, you kind of have to. You have to be working, otherwise you don't have a visa. You get kicked out of the country. You get into any trouble, you get kicked out of the country. If you're a student, you have to do well, or you're not a student anymore. You know what I mean? And it's like, wow, you would think they'd be like, oh, damn, where'd you come from? Oh shit, you from Somalia? You came out to Ukraine, and now this. All right, yeah, man. Let's see if we can find you somewhere that's safe. But no, all of a sudden you become the problem, and it's like, how? This isn't my fault.
Right, exactly.
I've been trying to help the country's economy, because I'm paying the same taxes.
Right, exactly.
You know
Sometimes
like,
more. Sometimes immigrants pay more taxes than the people who actually live there.
Bro, so it's like crazy. It really is sad, man. Like, once again, here comes that misuse of the gift of life. Wow, we want to make it hard for these people when they just trying to live like you or me. You don't know the story, and you're making assumptions when you're not supposed to be making any assumptions at all. Where are you coming from? Do you have proof of that? Oh, all right, cool. You don't? All right, you're gonna have to stay here while we figure something out. Plain and simple for the most part.
You have journalists on TV saying that, oh, this is like a European country. This doesn't happen here. And it's like, we had 2 world wars here. What do you mean this doesn't happen here?
About?
Like,
yeah.
This is like we had to, like, NATO is formed just so the white people could stop fighting each other. You know what I mean? Like, this is this is
I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. That's real shit though. That's real fucking shit, bro.
And what it kind of highlights to me is how aware, I feel like a lot of the time, I've said this about racism, but I haven't really said this about a global thing, is that a lot of the time it seems like people play the fool when it comes to conflicts, where it's like they'll say, even more so, it seems like people play the fool when it comes to racism. Like, they're like, oh, well, I didn't know this was happening. I didn't know this is going on and things like that. But every once in a while, their slip will show. You know what I mean? And I feel like this is one of those moments where it's like, you look at the situation in Ukraine and then you say, oh my God, how could this happen to people who have blonde hair and blue eyes and all this bullshit, how could this happen to another European country? And it's like you're underscoring the fact that you expect it not to happen in a European country. So where do you expect it to happen and why? You know what I mean? The racism that's involved in it, to me, is kind of like, you understand that this happens in brown countries and there's a reason for that. And mainly, most of the time, it's because of your countries that are causing that. And when you say it like that, when you say this isn't supposed to happen here, it makes me think that you think it's supposed to happen somewhere else. You know what I mean? And the idea that you think it's supposed to happen somewhere else makes me think you know a little bit more about why it happens somewhere else than you're letting on. You know what I mean? I don't think you could be so ignorant to the fact that you don't understand why Somalia looks like the way it does, or why Syria or Libya look the way they do. But why Ukraine shouldn't have a similar event happen to it. Which, by the way, Ukraine isn't the shiniest of European countries at all. No shade to Ukraine, but they're not France. You know what I mean? They are a war-torn country themselves. They've been fighting in certain regions for the past 8 or so, or even longer, years. It wasn't that long ago, Crimea is a part of Ukraine, and Putin took that I guess 8 years or so ago.
There's always been something going on.
This isn't something that's necessarily new to that side of the world. What it is that the level and the scale at which we are now faced with it, where we're watching, I guess with the shock is that we're watching not black, white people like experience this instead of watching black and brown's bodies experience this, to the scale at which we're watching experience it is shocking. To me, that's not the most important part about all this. I feel like we should not be like, okay, well, this is just because I also see that happening too, is where people will be like, okay, Ukraine is also a racist country or is a white country or whatever, and why should we care? And I don't believe that the reason why we should care or not care, especially in the case of like people dying, is
Absolutely.
whether or not, they're the right color or not. I don't believe that we should like therefore like try to give back the same energy that we get just
No,
because
that's not
like,
a belief.
it's
That's
still,
just fact.
like it's
That's
still
just
wrong.
fact.
Like it's
Yes.
still wrong.
That's
And, like,
not. There's not a belief thing there. That is just fact. You care about people.
Yes.
People are dying. It shouldn't matter how they look. It should matter what they've done per se. But like, there is no, oh, they look this way, we can't trust them. They're from here. We can't trust them. They need help. They're dealing with certain situations. Let's try to help them to the best of our ability. This isn't. I don't feel like that needs to be something for a debate. That's just fact.
And then like I just hate like listening to people be like, "Oh, this is a European country that shouldn't happen here," when like that's not even the
Like,
story. That's not even the story.
Say? People
like,
who don't read their history doomed to either repeat it or be idiots who are just like, oh my god,
we are literally
oh my god,
we're literally like on the cusp of a world war.
The third one
like
in history.
Like no shit. Like it's like this is like real at this point.
Technically the fourth if you consider the Cold War being technically a global thing.
Let me say it like this. Of like the third European war, because like there are African wars that happen and that have happened that people don't talk about. I just saw a video where somebody was describing that there was a world war type situation where like millions of people died in Africa, and like countries were fighting there, and then like that had to be resolved in whatever way it was resolved. But like we don't hear about it because we live in a Eurocentric type country where like we're more concerned about what happens in Europe than we are in like other places in the world,
Absolutely.
So that's just the story. But
Africa is saddening. Saddening, disgusting.
But I'm saying that like even our lack of focus to the fact that we'll be like, oh, these are the wars that matter and these aren't the wars that matter, says a lot more about us than it says about anybody else. Like there's this battalion in Ukraine. Like it's a Ukrainian battalion. It's called Azov Battalion, right? They're like a white nationalist battalion that like they've been there since like 2012 or whatever, and they may or may not have been backed by the U.S. government. I don't know, but like on one hand, you have like, and I'm really coming for everybody today about this topic because I'm really like a little bit through with it, because like
I hear you. Well, I'm hearing, because damn, this was not the way I was expecting this talk to go.
I'm sorry, but yeah, I know we didn't really talk much in pre-show because like we had a whole bunch of other stuff going on.
Yeah,
but, like,
all good.
Just let me get this off my chest a little bit. I don't mind you like interjecting and commenting.
Yeah, go ahead.
But like, no, like on one hand, yes, conservatives and like maybe just white people in general are like, oh my god, this is a white country, this shouldn't happen here. But on the other hand, even when I look at like people who have like socialistic leanings and like say they're supposed to be more like towards that end, like the only thing they want to talk about is this battalion in Ukraine that is full of Nazis or whatever, which is, it's not the whole of Ukrainian military that has Nazis or whatever, just like any other like white country that has Nazis, or like even the fucking United States of America, where literal Nazis run in our police forces every day and literally sometimes wear their Nazi like paraphernalia type tattoos openly on the fucking street.
Which is
but to me, that's not necessarily the point of why we should prevent a world war. But to these people, sometimes it seems like we play this whataboutism where it's like, well, Putin invaded because, there's Nazis in Ukraine. And that just sounds so fucking stupid to me, because it's not like Putin like gives a damn about human rights. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is the same regime that we're talking about that literally murders gay people. Yeah. Like just like because they're gay and they're
not
out.
Even no apology, no nothing.
Yeah. Like the same regime that like literally kills off his political opponents just
and other ethnic minorities. Keep in mind other ethnic minorities within the country itself.
That was the next one I was getting to.
Yeah, like
Putin's regime also kills off other ethnic minorities, and like excuse me, I'm tongue tied because I'm angry. Leftists online are literally like, oh well, this is like an illegitimate war and like NATO shouldn't exist and all this bullshit because there's Nazis in like a military regiment in Ukraine. And to me, it's not that I'm for Nazis or that I'm for Ukraine. That's not what this is about. It's that I don't know where some of you guys are taking it. Like, what is your stance? Like, you can't just say that, like, what is your stance that like we shouldn't do anything that because I've also heard the thing where it's like, and I know I'm going through a lot here and I'm sorry guys, like I'm just going through like a lot of my thoughts about this situation.
Logan gets some shit off his chest. Tune in for the next episode.
My point really is, what is it that people actually want out of this situation? Because what I would like to see out of the situation is either an end to the conflict or at least some acknowledgement that this conflict has nothing to do with you. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people are trying to make this about themselves more than, that this is actually like a horrible thing that's happening. And that, if we don't stop it from happening any further than what's going on, like it's just going to get worse. You know what I mean? Like, I think any effort to like curb like Russian aggression in this sense is like due for like whatever scrutiny there is. But at the same time, I'm not to the point where I'm like going to say, oh, there should be no pushback for what Vladimir Putin is doing. That just seems stupid and crazy. Like, you can say that like NATO, like, and people are saying that like NATO provoked Putin into this war because, they're ever advancing. They're always taking on new countries. And it's like, I understand that. But at the same time, they didn't invade another country to do that. They're not murdering people indiscriminately by like bombing their neighborhoods. This isn't something that's not how NATO takes over a country. They offer them a lot of money and say, hey, do you mind if we put a couple of nukes in your backyard? So in case like, we have to blow up Russia one day. That's not nice. It's not fucking right. Like that. But
it's not a full-on invasion. It's
not a fucking invasion of a country that kills like thousands of civilians and causes the displacement of millions of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we can't look at that and just be like, oh, well, what about NATO and all this and that when like people are fucking dying. So I just want to know where everybody is really coming from. Where are you coming from in your heart about this situation? Because a lot of this sounds like pointing the finger at people and saying, oh, these are people who just want war for their own gains and stuff. But I feel like a lot of people are trying to like dunk and score like political points, even on the other side, just to score fucking points on the internet. For what? Like to sow disinformation for what? Like there's like obvious like blatant misinformation from both sides of this war. Like, I think defensively from Ukraine, because like the Russians are really good at like talking online and like pretending to be other people online. You know what I mean? But like,
didn't actually. I didn't know
well,
that
they
was
are.
the thing.
They're now you know, like
Wow,
Russian
okay.
disinformation and like Russian like bots and stuff. They have like a whole like army of bots that says whatever they need to say to get whatever they need trending on Twitter. Which would be great if they could send some towards the Milk and Toast, so we could like have a couple of 100 bots to like promote the show. That I'm just
No,
saying,
we will not. We will not side with this evil.
we're not gonna get free bots. I'll take a free bot.
See, this sounds like iRobot already. I can't deal.
Mitch is such a grandpa. He does not know what we're talking about.
I do. Okay. I just don't want to deal with it. All right.
Anyways, I know I'm getting ranty, guys, and I'm sorry, but like, my point again is just like, it seems like everybody's just trying to grab a piece of the pie, and I think there are really well-meaning people like on the ground, like us, individual real life people that are like, you know, we see things and we share them and we have an actual concern about them. And for the last couple of days and like even through last week, I trying to like post little things through Milk and Toast that like, hey, at least look out for misinformation. Hey, at least like think more critically about where you're getting your information from and what that means, you know, that information. Because I think it's important for us to live in like reality and like for us to know why things are happening. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we should cheer for Ukraine because Azov Battalion is a thing. But I also don't think we should not cheer for like the pushback of like the Russians like escalating into like a third world war. Like, you can say what you want about NATO, but like if somebody is invading a country because they think that it should actually be a part of their country, and like Putin did threaten both Finland and Sweden as well, you know?
Wow. Really?
So this is like, we're in real World War III type territory.
Wait,
like
which
this
countries?
is not
Sweden and
Finland
where?
and Sweden.
Finland and Sweden.
Yeah.
Aren't both of those usually neutral countries? Like, weren't those neutral countries during World War I and II? Sweden, I know definitely was. Right? How do people be threatening those countries? How you threaten those countries, bro?
I don't know.
Why those?
I don't know.
Oh,
but like,
man.
Russia has a lot of history with Finland. Like, they have a lot of history with Finland where it's like, you know, even like whether or not Finland would be a part of Russia, that's a long-standing thing, you know? And like, Putin really believes that like the old Soviet Union is something to be achieved again. You know what I mean? And like, even if I was to look at it from Putin's perspective and not be like, take Putin's word for it, like, I think a lot of people are running with this Nazi thing in Ukraine and being like, yeah, Putin just wants to save Ukraine from the Nazis. I'm like, shut the fuck up, you know, because he does not give a damn. But like,
Nazis,
if I was to like put myself in his shoes for a moment, I think that if he took over Ukraine and then he took over Finland and Sweden and he was able to take back other countries like Estonia and other countries that used to be a part of the Soviet Union, and then like he was able to complete the Soviet Union like back to its like former glory by like taking all those countries back, he would be a fucking hero like over there. Like, I think that like it's insane, but I think in his mind he would be a hero. He'd be a Russian hero that he was able to take these countries back
and
from the West.
Revive the Soviet Union?
Yeah.
You think Russia, from what I've been hearing, Russia's not even down with the war front in the first place? Well, the civilians, I mean, not like the government or whatever.
Yes, but like who, like, as far as power goes, they don't matter. And Putin is so scary over there that like his, what would be like, I guess the equivalent to his CIA director, like,
you mean his KGB director?
Yes. Well,
KGB.
They don't have the KGB anymore. They call it something else.
Of course they don't have the KGB.
But
no KGB.
You're actually pretty good at that accent.
But the KGB is always there.
That's all you can say, though, is KGB. but he was talking back and forth to that guy, and that guy was like, if we were to like accomplish what we're trying to accomplish. And like Putin got hung up on the word like if, like, you know, like, what do you mean? Like, you don't think we can do this shit? And then like they didn't have an argument because you don't have arguments with Vladimir Putin. But like the guy is like, he's literally the head of like fucking spy agencies in Russia where they carry out their own assassinations and they kill and poison people at Putin's behest. Like, they have the materials to like kill people. And he's sitting there in front of Vladimir Putin and he's like literally shaking on TV.
Damn, bro.
All right. So it's like Putin knows that he's like, he has like all this power and like whatever. What's really going to do him in is like all the sanctions and stuff because, like, you know, like that's the money.
It's like every time I turn on the fucking TV,
it's a new
sanction, bro. U.S. is sanctioning. Yeah, so now Sweden is sanctioning. And Great Britain just decided to sanction. And I'm like, oh, okay. Not like he cares, I don't think. I mean, Russia's vast, bro.
It's not that...
How much of a sanction really going to do to them?
He might not care personally. It's more about the oligarchs around him because, like, they affect...
Like, yo, yeah. Like, what you doing? Like, you fucking up my money, Putin.
You fucking up my money, man. So, like, what's this, you know, what's this war about, you know? And Putin thought this would have been over, like, last week, you know? But it's taken a little bit longer...
That's because Ukraine was like,
than he thought it was going to take.
Ukraine was like, I am tired of you bullying us. You want it so bad? All right. Cool. Pull up, nigga. Where your guns at? Where your hood at? Where your clique at? Yeah, but in like Ukrainian, which I don't speak, but you know, where your clique at? All right. Rep your set, motherfucker. Okay, let's take it to the yard. You ain't bout shit, nigga. Anyway, I digress because I don't speak Ukrainian.
No, yeah. And I do feel bad for Ukraine. I do feel bad for the people who are
like
who are
to be honest, that
entire
like, you know, like region, because all the country that used to be part of the Soviet Union kind of, for the most part, I don't know exactly, but always seem to have some kind of issue with Russia. And there's a lot of turmoil surrounding their creation, you know, their sustenance and all. It seems to me all the time. Mm-hmm. At least in Eastern Europe. I mean, Albania, because, you know, my cousin's girl is Albanian and she tells me about coming from, like, you know, dealing with wars and the history of that. I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not an easy life. And even in Russia itself, like, once again, talking about the Russian people, the civilians who don't even want this war to be happening. It's like, it's never been really easy for anybody in those regions.
Right.
I remember in a history class, there was an old saying. And it was like just a quote for some woman or something. And it was like, you know, why would I be surprised by all this like turmoil and all this issue when, you know, Russia's always been like this. Mm. And it just made me really sad because I was like, yo, that's really depressing. You know,
but that's not too far off how like most people feel about their own respective countries, though. You know,
I don't. So here's the thing. Funny enough, is like, you know, Russian woman may feel like that, but I don't really feel like that in America. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because like I have this hope, and there is like a difference in terms of like the you know, the literature we have around, I guess to say. But it's like I don't be feeling that bad, bro.
Right.
Like I don't be feeling like, oh, it's been well. It could also be because just the Black people's spirit is so strong, and you know, the sense of community. So there is that. But I don't be feeling like that, bro. Because at least it's one thing to say like, oh, the white people going to be evil to me. Well, at least the evil white people, because there are good white people who I'm cool with, you know, obviously. But it's another thing to say like, oh, I don't think my country cares about me a single bit at all, or even some of the people around because they're just so used to the turmoil. You know what I mean? That hits, for me, that hit different, bro. Just for me, but that's me personally, because there's probably plenty of Americans who are just like, same, first time. But it's me, I don't actually be feeling that way. So it actually made me really sad.
Well, and you feel like our country cares about you?
More than Russians. I know, and isn't that the saddest thing? Ain't that the saddest thing, bro? Like,
I think our country leaves us alone more than the Russians.
That's fair. Well, that's because of the way our government's built up and the way the power structures kind of form. But exactly, like I don't be feeling like that, bro. I don't be feeling like that old woman. Shit. That's I guess I can't really explain it further than that. But you get what I'm saying. You know what I mean? It's just like, what the fuck, bro? Like, help these people.
Yeah, I don't like the situation. I don't think we should have. I don't even know what that means to say that. I don't think we should have war in the middle of a war. Like, I feel like that point, like what you want at that point is kind of moot. Is like,
at that point,
you know,
it's not like anybody.
it's not that you can't be anti-war. You know what I mean? But it's just like, while it's happening, it's like, if you're not gonna get Putin to stop shooting, then what the fuck? You know, like, we have to, like, I don't know. I don't even know. But I just don't think, like, the thing that would be is like, you know, well, you should stop sanctioning people because it's like that. You sound like the ops. Like, you just sound like somebody who don't give a fuck ops about like what's actually happening.
I'm gonna say, get your Interpol ass up out of here. Yeah, don't make some goddamn sense.
If anything, yeah, you sound like a sting. Like, what is this? If I agree with this, am I safe? Like, you know what I mean?
But okay, but not to make light of what is happening to Ukraine, and once again to the Ukrainian people.
No, I don't think I was making light, but like,
yeah,
you know.
No, I know. I don't mean you. Just like in terms of everything we spoke about, because we like took away. Because the point is, Ukraine. We still hope that you and the people end up okay for the most part. It sucks to be invaded by a foreign power that thinks it owns you. Like, victory to you, I hope. Honestly, that's all I really have to say about that. The politics around it is like immense when you actually think about it, because that's what you did for me today. It's like, oh, right. Because I'm over here just like, I just feel bad for Ukraine. I'm like, fuck. But the politics surrounding it is immense.
Yeah, I think if I did overload anybody, I think my point in like giving you all the information is like to give you context of the situation, but also to say that, this is a big, complicated situation that can't just be boiled down to the fact of, oh, I stand for this side or I stand for that side. There's much greater existential forces at play that if something doesn't happen at least one way or the other, it affects us all. And it still kind of affects us all now. We should have the mentality that this does affect us. You know what I mean? I do believe that this is something that affects us, and I don't think I would be glued to my phone and trying to figure out, what's happening next, like every minute, trying to figure out, what is going on now, if I didn't think this actually did affect me or like the people that's around me and the people I love. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah. Like America is horrible. Like, if there is a draft, first people are going is the black people. Like, that's what they did in Vietnam.
Yeah, I know. If they can get us this time.
Yeah, I know.
Like, oh, all right.
Be like,
oh, fuck, we're going to be on our way to prison singing Negro spirituals.
They'd be like, oh, I'm not going to jail. I'm just going to say my knee is bad. You go to jail, Mitch.
All right, obviously, we know who's down to fully ride. We know who's down to fake this shit. Like in that episode of Boondocks when fucking Granddad he was in the fucking, he's like, oh, y'all didn't go back and get y'all raincoat? Yes. You obviously a granddad ass nigga, so all right, you go ahead. Go ahead and say you got a bad knee, okay?
I am a Robert Freeman. Yes. I am not going to jail.
Y'all didn't go get y'all raincoats?
Nobody.
Yo, bro. Straight up. I mean, yeah.
He said, y'all knew there was going to be hoses. Why didn't you get your raincoat?
The fact they didn't whoop his ass right there, bro.
They did beat his ass right there.
Yo, bro. No. But point made.
But yeah,
obviously some down the ride.
Like, this no way.
Chill on the side.
Like, what you should be for is like fucking peace or not peace. And like, how do we achieve that? And how do we avoid like being in a world war where like billions of people have to die for that? You know what I mean? That's what you should be on the side of. Like, I am on the side of, no more Ukrainians having to lose their lives over this bullshit. I'm still on the side of like, even Russian kids that like had to be like conscripted into this war that had nothing to do with this, but had to be forced to fight anyways, not having to lose any more of their lives as well. You know what I mean? And that might that might not be what somebody who's from Ukraine or who is Ukrainian wants to hear right now. And I understand that, and you can call me a son of a bitch for that.
I mean, Ukraine doesn't seem to be like that either. They literally, the other day I saw a story, a Russian dude surrendered. They're feeding and housing the motherfucker. For real, for real. You know what I mean? I imagine they feel the same way because if those children aren't being conscripted, they're dealing with less soldiers. Real shit, you know what I mean? Like, it's just basic math at that point.
So it's like, I understand the situation, but I also want other people to understand the situation in a way that doesn't just boil it down to like, oh yeah, it's them or us or this and that. And it's like,
never like that.
Like people, you guys are so hungry to pick a side sometimes that you don't even know what side you're fucking on. Like it doesn't even make sense to me sometimes the sides you guys choose, because it's like, okay, what is the end goal of it? Like, where do you go with it from there? Where do you go with the fact that you don't think NATO should exist anymore? Where do you go with the fact that you think that, the Russians should be able to do whatever they want, or where do you go with the fact that you don't want to acknowledge that, that Nazis are a real thing in Ukraine and that is a thing that's happening over there? You know what I mean? Like, you can't just blind yourself to the information that is inconvenient for you. You know what I mean?
Oh, it doesn't.
Yeah, I did. It's fine.
Sure
I'll scrub that out. Don't worry. But like,
cool.
you can't just blind yourself to the fucking like information that you don't want to hear anymore, just because it makes you uncomfortable. I'm sorry that the world is so complicated. You know what I mean? It doesn't work that way. I don't get to pick and choose. I don't get to be like Russia can be wrong and Ukraine can have Nazis at the same time. Like, that is something that could actually happen. And that whatever boils out of that could be just the consequences that we all have to deal with. And that, you know what I mean?
That we should deal with together. Because it's, I know everyone likes to live in black and white. And some things are like that. Very rarely these days, but some things are like that. But in this life now, y'all got to understand the fucking nuance, man.
Right.
Like, things are not mutually exclusive. I could be like, yo, I support the war effort for Ukraine to remain independent, while being like, yo, Ukraine, you need to do something about those Nazis. Same damn time. Yeah. Same damn time. I could support not conscripting child soldiers in Russia because I like to see the Russian people prosper.
I don't know how young
while being like,
the soldiers are. I don't want to say that, but I don't know how young.
Okay, well, I hope not. But while being like, Russia, what the fuck are you doing? Government of Russia, what are you doing?
I didn't mean like at kids, the same time. I meant figuratively, like young people.
Yeah, draft. I know. Yeah. I get it. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean it to sound like. But it's like, people really like to think certain things are like mutually exclusive. It's like, I can't say this right now because they're dealing with that. And it's like, actually, you need to make sure you can still say this right now because they're dealing with that. Otherwise, you may find yourself not saying it at all.
Exactly. Yes, exactly that. That
due to the fact that you're like,
you just said,
no, that's it. I know. Yes. I know. I completely agree with you. That's entirely it. And it's like, if I'm feeling like, and then a country could be like, well, you didn't say anything then. And it's like, because you was, okay, you want to be like that? You want to be like that? And it's exactly for that reason.
Right.
Because at any point where you acknowledge that something you thought was wrong was okay, you've automatically given that side the right to be like, well, you didn't think it was a problem then.
Mm-hmm.
And now, while the point is still that, okay, well, I can say it's a problem now, it's like, well, you didn't think it was a problem at some point. So now there's a question on, is it really a problem? And it's like, yes, it's supposed to be, but it has to always be a problem. Otherwise, maybe it's not a problem to some.
Right.
It's weird how that works, right? But
yeah.
It's really how it works in humans' heads sometimes. And it's like, nah, man, what's wrong is wrong. What's right is right. But, lines is really blurred right now, man. It's
and I get
it's a crazy time
it's
to be alive.
It's a weird time. And I feel like we're at the peak of the information age where it's like, we have to really go back to like 96 where we're like teaching kindergartners what not to believe on the internet, which is funny because I was that kindergartner that had to be taught like not to believe everything on the internet. And then I just grew up to watch, every adult that told me not to do that. Just do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, right? So it's like, some shit, bro.
Yeah, that's kind of weird and crazy,
shit.
Yeah, but sometimes, not all the information is for you, It's even if you're the one that's, giving it out,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we can get out of here. This is a short show. But
this wasn't short to me. This seemed just as long.
Nah.
You seen what time it is?
Yeah, I know what time it is. It's short.
You remember what time we started?
Yeah, I know what time we started too.
Okay, short to you.
Yeah, it's kind of short.
Short to you.
No, when I edit it, you'll see how short it is.
Okay, we'll see.
Yeah, we only talked about like 2 things today.
We talked about them for a long time.
I mean, we talked about 2 things, but we talked about a lot of things.
And in between that, we talked about a lot of fucking things.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, really?
But if you wanted more out of this show today, you should come on the show and make the show yourself. Anyways, Mitch, do you have anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
Spiritual resentment is toxic. Whatever that means to you.
Yes.
But spiritual resentment is toxic and not good for you. To Ukraine, I don't know any sayings in Ukrainian. I don't want to make anything up. But, best of luck to you guys during the war effort. I don't want Russia to invade and take Ukraine. I think what they're doing is wrong. You have issues to obviously work through as all the rest of everywhere else does. But in this particular instance, I hope you're able to overcome Russia and you're not dealing with any more turmoil. And otherwise, have a good week. Happy spring break.
I want to say that I love you guys. I love all of you.
Oh, damn. How you going to do that after me? Just be all like, oh, I love y'all. Oh, like I don't love them? Oh, that's cool.
That's right.
Fuck you, bro.
That's right. You don't love them. I love you. No, I wanted to say that, and I wanted to say that because I do care about the people who listen to the show. And that's why I try to keep my opinions at least as valuable as they can be for the people who listen to the show, and why I try to push the show in a direction that we're not misleading you. And if we do say something wrong, please tell us so we can correct ourselves, because I'm open to that type of criticism as well. You know what I mean? And I say that to say, this, which is that there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation that's going on the internet when it comes to not just this situation, but like so many types of situations that apply to our lives, that matter to our lives, matter to the lives of real people and people around us that we know or we might not know. And I think it's important that if you have a platform, that you take that platform seriously and that you're responsible with that platform. And I say that as knowing that, this is the type of show where we joke around and we say all types of weird shit sometimes. But like when it comes to like important shit like this, I'm glad we do have a show where like we can have like serious conversations, but also that, I want it to be known that this is like anytime we have like a topic. And Mitch will tell you, and if like Mitch or Claire or anybody else brings me a topic and I think it has like even a little hint of a conspiracy, I'll be like, what's that about? You know what I mean?
Although
and
other day you wanted to talk about a conspiracy, which was crazy.
I did, but that, that's different. I don't mind conspiracies.
It's different, yo.
No, I don't mind conspiracies when they're like, did we land on the moon or something bullshit like that? Like, who does that affect? You know what I mean? Like, who's dying after we say that Neil Armstrong didn't land on the moon? He like landed in New Mexico.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, which you just so happen to not give a fuck about.
Fuck him.
Yeah, I thought so.
No, I don't. Fuck him.
I like Neil deGrasse Tyson.
No, I don't like Neil deGrasse Tyson. He should like calm down. Anyways,
you keep living your life, Neil.
It's so weird having a beef with Neil deGrasse Tyson when he
doesn't
even
know.
No
beef. He don't even know who you are.
I know. That's what I was getting at. That he doesn't even know I have
straight,
beef with him.
Bro.
Yeah.
He's gonna pull up to one physics event. And he's gonna be there. Just be like, "Yo, I'm sick of your shit, man."
Be like, "I'm sick of your shit." Like,
where's your lab even at?
Where's your lab?
I'm literally just gonna leave. I'm gonna just leave. I'm gonna take like, Sarah, who's gonna probably be with us, and just walk out.
He's gonna embarrass me bad too. I'll be like, "Where's your lab?" And he's gonna be like, "Berkeley." I'll be like, "Fuck." I'll be like, "Oh, sorry."
Yo, my fault.
My fault. Let me go take a podcast episode down now.
Please don't sue us. Please don't sue us.
No, it was funny. One time I did search for the show, and then like Neil deGrasse came up with the show.
Maybe he's been watching and listening this entire time, and is just waiting. It's just waiting to compile. He's compiling a list.
He's waiting for us to become a big enough problem for him to have to deal with, and then like
all right,
then like put us in our place. But no, yes, just be careful out there, guys. There's all types of bullshit out there, and so like do your best. I know nobody's perfect. I know everybody's just trying their best when it comes to reading and, you know, just trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. I'm just saying that this is going to be a place where we're going to try to make that a little bit easier for people. You know, that it's not, I don't think we have an agenda. My agenda is not to support like any type of political entity over another unless it actually benefits people in the long term. That's my MO since day one. Like, I'm not going to support something that I don't truly think is going to be for the betterment of other people. Like, some people are just trying to sell you soap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's just not what this place is about. Even if we started selling ads, this still isn't what this place is about. It doesn't make sense for me to like actually harm you and ask for your views and your listens and whatever. Like, how dare fucking I? You know what I mean? And so we just need to be critical. And I'm gonna keep sharing things that, you know, are resources and tools in this age that we're in, where it can be very, very fucking difficult to tell what's real and what's fake, you know, out there. You know what I mean? I was a little ranty today, so please forgive me. I can't make them all bangers. Listen, what else I was going to say? Oh, yes. Coming up in the next couple of weeks, and there'll be great promo for it, so you can watch out for all of 2 videos I'll share probably during the week. But we are going to do something I call Milk and Toast Live, which is me and Mitch are going to we'll pick a day, but like me and Mitch are going to basically play a video or play an episode, and we'll have like a great listening party over whatever time period it takes. And then
it's just gonna be us bullshitting over how stupid we probably think we sound to each other.
Basically. Literally. And like that's you know, that's the best way to like listen to the podcast is with friends. And Mitch is my friend, so
stop calling me that in front of company, nigga.
What? I like you being my friend.
Oh God.
You got to have friends. Anyways, let's get the fuck out of here. Right. Say bye to the people, Mitch.
Goodbye.
A defeated man. I love that.
Just goodbye. Shut up, Logan. No one cares about you.
You know, this is the second time you've done like a normal one too.
I mean, I can't do all. I guess I'm not that interesting. Okay, so like, could you just like not?
Yeah, cry, nigga.
Not in front of you, so they ain't gonna fall till I'm off camera, bitch.
I'm just gonna come to your house and watch.
That's strange. You need Jesus.
Every day. Let me get out of here. This has been episode 41 of the Milk and Toast podcast. I've been your host, Logan, and we're out. Bye.